Today, I will talk about the legal importance of the offer for faculty position. This offer proves a number of criminal misconducts and fake documents which were created at the University of Alabama. Their purpose was to mislead the authorities. Here in this video, I will demonstrate the existence of those criminal misconducts. Let's start with the description of the job offer.
I'm writing now because our long-term physics instructor has given notice he'll not be returning for the fall, so I'm looking for someone interested in such a position. Unlike full faculty positions here, instructors aren't expected to do research, so this would be ideal for a graduate student who is finishing up and considering other options in a full research career. However, I'm also exploring the possibility that this position might be expanded to a tenure track position that would involve research.
They offered this faculty position in return to my ownership of the new computer technology. Their plan did not work. But later on, when I brought them to the court, I asked from Dr. Leclerc whether I qualified for this position or not. And you were thinking that I qualified for this position?
I mean, based on what they say, that you need 18 hours of graduate courses in physics, you were technically qualified.
Technical qualification means scientific qualification, having the necessary knowledge to be a professor. But what about the ethical qualifications? A teacher needs to have some social skills, treat others with respect, have integrity, be able to deal with a group of students from diverse backgrounds. Could I be a good professor from ethical point of view? Let's see his answer. So, from ethical point of view, being a teacher, qualifying as a teacher, you were thinking that I can be a good teacher over there.
I mean, yes, knowing that at this moment in time you might need, something to do, I thought, yes, you could probably do a good job teaching physics.
Okay, thank you. So, not only Dr. Leclerc offered me this job, but also he testified under oath that I had both scientific and ethical qualifications to be a faculty member, and I would do a good job teaching physics. Well, I did not exchange the ownership of the computer technology to this faculty position. When their first plan for getting the technology did not work, the university sent me an ultimatum. Let's see what was that ultimatum.
Based on my understanding that you aren't being immediately dismissed, but rather won't be allowed to continue in the program this fall, you have a little time to make some decisions.
So Mr. Charter is telling that I'm not immediately dismissed?
He is saying which will likely lead to dismissal from the PhD program.
Here, I should mention the date of the ultimatum. It was on June 30th, 2017, just 2 days after the second offer for the faculty position. You can see the dates on the calendar. The second offer for the faculty position was on Wednesday, June 28th, and the ultimatum for dismissal was on Friday, June 30th. Please pay a close attention to this calendar. There are 2 other dates to be remembered. They are June 23rd and June 29th. They had fabricated other false documents on those dates. We will take a look at them. They said I had a little time to make some decisions, or they will do the ultimatum. They expected that I would read in between lines and let them have the technology. Well, I decided not to accept their faculty position. I chose to keep my ownership of the technology. But they didn't do the ultimatum. The university did not dismiss me. They kept my status as a student, and they used police operations to steal the technology. They stole the samples, more than 10 notebooks, and everything regarding this technology. I reported the theft to the FBI. FBI did some investigations, and finally they told me this matter should be resolved through a civil lawsuit. The FBI officers did not come to take the stolen properties back. Several other authorities in the US government told me the same. They referred the case to the court. Once I brought the thieves to the court, they told I was dismissed, which was a lie, and it was a strange lie. But nevertheless, because the lawsuit was between a student and a university, and the university was a state university, the court decided that the initial discovery has to be about the existence of a dismissal. And based on the finding of the initial discovery, we could move forward to other matters. As a result, we had to talk about a dismissal rather than the theft. What to do? I told, okay, you are telling me that I was dismissed. What was the basis for dismissal? Let's see the answer.
The grounds were demonstrated lack of progress in research and disrespectful conduct toward faculty, advisors, colleagues, and members of the academic community.
You see, she presents two bases. Let's start with the first one. It was demonstrated lack of progress in research. But how does it make sense? These people offered me a tenure track faculty position, which would involve research. If I demonstrated lack of progress in research as a student, how could I qualify to become a faculty member and have my own research lab as a professor? Which means I will have other students come and work in my research lab, do research under my direction, and get graduated. How does it make sense? In this screen here, you see the clear contradiction between their documents and their testimonies. Let's see the second basis for their fake allegation of dismissal. I will read their exact words. It was disrespectful conduct toward faculty advisors, colleagues, and members of the academic community. But how is it possible? The chair of the physics department, Dr. Patrick Leclerc, testified that I had all of the qualifications, including ethical qualifications, to be a faculty member, and I would do a good job teaching physics. If I had disrespectful conduct toward my advisor, who was Dr. Leclerc himself, how the exact same person could offer me a faculty position in the Birmingham Southern College, which is a nearby college? It is in this community. And how could he insist that I should accept the faculty position and start teaching in August? One of these two documents has to be fake. But they had already submitted both of these documents to different authorities, and they could not change what they had done in the past. All the discovery process of the federal court did was to uncover these documents. They were in contradiction with each other, and since the testimonies were under oath. These people had committed perjury in addition to other crimes they had committed regarding faking those documents, regarding misleading the authorities, and many other misconducts they had committed. Here in this screen, we have the transcription of their testimonies, and you can see the clear contradiction and perjury in their testimonies. If you would like, you can stop the video and review their testimonies with more accuracy. How a person who is being dismissed as a student can be hired as a professor. If somebody works in Walmart and they fire him, it is difficult to find another job in another store because they ask why you got fired, what was the problem. These people dismiss me as a student and hire me as a professor, and both of the recommendations for dismissal and the recommendation for being hired as a professor was done by Dr. Leclerc and the professors who were working under his direction. It was the exact same team. They committed a lot of crimes, not only for giving false testimonies in the court, but also for creating fake documents. They had signed those documents and they had submitted them to several governmental authorities so that they can steal the technology using police forces. Otherwise, they couldn't use police operations to steal the technology. We have another communication from Susan Carvalho. Let's see that communication. This is the email you sent on June 23rd, 2017 to Charles Dorsey. Can you please explain who is Charles Dorsey?
He is the director of the Office of Threat Assessment.
Can you give some more information what he does?
When anyone in the university is concerned about a situation involving a threat, they are wise to consult with Charlie Dorsey, who has expertise in assessing whether the threat is to be taken seriously, whether any action needs to be taken or not.
And is he a police officer or he's a faculty member?
He's not. I don't believe he's a faculty member. I don't actually know that. I don't know.
We know Charlie Dorsey. He's a retired FBI agent. And Susan Carvalho knew that very well. The University of Alabama hired Charlie Dorsey for counterterrorism. This university is the largest university in the state of Alabama. It has about 40,000 students from like 100 different countries. And they hired Charlie Dorsey as a senior retiree from FBI to train the police officers and to raise awareness in the members of this community. He is in charge of security of this university against terrorist activities. There is a picture of him giving a public training. It is from a news article. I left the link to the source of this picture in the description box. Please pay attention to the dates. This communication with Charlie Dorsey was on June 23rd, which was 11 days after the first offer for the faculty position, and 5 days before the second offer for the same position. So at this time period, they were still insisting that I should accept the faculty position. And they were expecting that I would do so. Otherwise, they wouldn't send me the offer again. But at the same time, they had another plan to take the technology by force and they were making fake documents for that operation. Let's see another email from Susan Carvalho to Charlie Dorsey, which was sent on June 29th.
Yesterday or today, Dr. LeClaire also shared this email and photograph with the faculty members on the advisory committee who wrote the recommendation. Two of the faculty members, Dr. Dean Townsley and Dr. Condor Henderson, told him they felt threatened by the content of the email, the tone, and the reference to the artwork. Specifically, they pointed to his statement that they will be held responsible, quote, and that, quote, they will see the consequences of their unethical action, unquote. As a result, Dr. LeClaire reported the email and the faculty members' concern to Officer Davis at UAPD as this relates to Mint Center research.
The email this lady was talking about was sent a month earlier. Dr. LeClaire sent me an email in late May, and he copied a number of professors in that email, including Connor Henderson. I took a couple of days to think about that email, and then I properly replied to them. If Mr. Charlie Dorsey had a closer look at the document, he would ask, this document does not belong to yesterday or today, and why Dr. LeClaire should show it to the other faculty members? They were copied here. And the email had a very peaceful and gentle language, aiming to calm down two groups of professors who were fighting each other. This email was one of the reasons they offered me the faculty position. It took them a couple of weeks to prepare the job offer. The first offer for the faculty position was on June 12, which was 2 weeks after I replied to this email. Susan Carvalho was saying Charlie Dorsey that yesterday or today they were threatened by the content of my reply email. That was not true. What happened on that yesterday, which was June 28th, was that they offered me the faculty position for the second time, and I rejected that. We have their emails dated June 28th. The faculty position was a practical one. It was at the Birmingham Southern College, which is a 15-minute drive from this university campus in Tuscaloosa. I didn't need to move my apartment. I could commute. Especially that the fall semester starts in August and I had less than a month to prepare my teaching notes and schedule for the classes. They were expecting that I would stay in the city and I would collaborate with them in the technology. You see how deceitful these people are. Their deception is one of the reasons that I rejected their offer for the faculty position. Integrity is important. The offer for faculty position has legal importance because it clearly proves the criminal misconducts of these professors. How a student who had disrespectful conduct toward faculty advisors, colleagues, and members of the academic community can be hired as a professor in that community? How a student who had threatened the professors can be hired as a faculty member to be a colleague to those professors? And there is a huge gap between being dismissed as a student and being hired as a professor. These people would do anything to get that technology. And they had fabricated all of those documents for that purpose. And they couldn't deny it. I had hard evidence. Their emails, their signatures, their communications with authorities. They couldn't deny it. In the next video, I will talk about the administrative turnover at the University of Alabama, which was the result of these misconducts. Thank you for watching.